For our last 2 youth intakes with this Pogon side, in a Youth Academy Challenge, by the way, we've not had a head of youth development. I don't know how I've missed this, okay? I genuinely have no idea how I've missed this. We've not had a head of youth development. I don't know who's been bringing these players in. Luckily, we've not missed out too badly. We still brought in some half-decent footballers. But the fact that we haven't had a dedicated head of youth development might have been a mistake. So Season 5, we're going to bring in ourselves a brand new head of youth development who's hopefully going to stay here until the end of this save. Otherwise, we might have Season 9 and 10 without head of youth development because I'll forget because their contract will expire. Anyway, last time around in Season 4, we managed to somehow finish 2nd place in the Ekstraklasa. We got knocked out the Champions League and the Europa League and the Polish FA Cup, but we did win the Polish Super Cup. So we did technically win something last year, although it's a Super Cup and nobody really cares for it. Obviously, being Season 5 as well, we are going to have to lock in 5 players into our starting 11. 5 players who are starred, who have come through our youth intake, but we cannot pick players who have left the club and come back on loan deals. They do not count as players that we must pick, because basically, if they leave the club, they're probably too good for us anyway, so we need to try and bring in some more players into the first team of fray, which means we're going to jump forward to the start of September. The transfer window will have opened and closed, some transfer business will have taken place, and we'll see what type of players we can bring in and what our starting 11 is going to look like. We have sold £11 million worth of players, and some of them have actually been starred. In fact, this man in particular has been starred, and I don't think he was ever going to make it, so we have moved him on to GKS. Taichi might be their name, for not a lot of money, but there is a big old sell-on in there as well. We sold another one of our youth intakes over to Water Poznan for £18,000. For £115,000, potentially rising, I think, to £160,000, we have sold this man over to LKS Lodz. And then we've started selling some big players. Leo Borges, first of all, he has left. He's gone to Saudi Arabia for just £2.5 million. It is not a lot of money, but basically, we had no real choice. He wanted to leave once there was some interest from bigger clubs coming in, and we just had to take the money. I think he only had a year or 2 years left on his contract, so I've cashed in now. Mikel Angel Tobella has also left the club. He has moved on to Inter Milan for £2.5 million. There's a big old sell-on in this one. As I always do, if anyone's under the age of about 25, let's say, try and stick in a nice big sell-on, because if they do move on, we obviously get half of that money. And Mike Zonder has also left the club, signing for Porto. He's gone for the biggest fee, 5.75, potentially going up, I believe, to 6, although it says 5.75 and that's it. There was also a big sell-on in there for Zonder, much like some of the other players as well. We had the opportunity to loan back Zonder and Tobella. Didn't want to do it because basically they're not Polish, and it doesn't feel right to loan back players who aren't going to get into your first team because they've come through your youth intake and things like that. So Zonder and Tobella are just staying at their clubs and probably going to get loaned out to someone else instead. 2 players have joined the club because we have sold a very good central defender and right back, technically, or left back, sorry. We have brought in Kamil Palczewski? Kamil Palczewski. Sure, we'll go with that. He has come in from a fellow team in Poland. Not even going to try and say that. They got relegated a couple of seasons ago. He's cost £800,000, which I think is a pretty decent deal for a 19-year-old Polish under-21 international centre-back. And we have also brought in a Norwegian central defender as well. Fabian Winther from Bodo Glimt has cost £1.4 million. And I think there's an intermediary fee. They wanted to sell him. They wanted to sell Winther. He's ridiculous. I don't know why they wanted to sell him, but anyway, we brought in Winther. I think we've got ourselves 2 very good central defenders. Now, because we have brought these players in, they don't count as youth intake players, so we can't force play them. Because we can't force play them, we still need to pick 5 players to go into our starting 11. And these are the 5 that we have gone for. Mateusz Wolski keeps his place in defence because I think he's done quite well. It means one of the 2 new centre-back signings might be playing as a right-back. Goralski also keeps his place in the starting 11 because basically he's ridiculous. Krzysztof Mucha also keeps his place in the starting 11. This is going to be his 3rd season playing first-team football for us. Thomas Kostrabala also is now getting locked into the first team on the right-hand side in midfield. I decided to play Kostrabala because basically they kept playing him as a right-back last season, and I don't want him to be a right-back. I feel like he's better as a winger, so we are locking him in. It means Vahan probably isn't going to play. Or maybe he will, because the final player that we're locking in is a defensive midfielder, which means we have not locked in our striker, and Vahan might play up there instead. Lukas Kzenko is our defensive midfielder that we are locking in. He is quite clearly the worst player in our starting 11, but we need to start bringing in some players who aren't attackers through to our starting 11, and Zenko is the only one that really fits the bill at the moment. So this is what it looks like when you take a look. So Wolski on that right-hand side in defence, Zenko in the defence midfield on the right, then we've got Mucha, Goralski and Kostrobala across the attacking midfield roles, which I think is very good. And then we take a look, who were they likely to play up front? Sebastian Wilk. Wilk's technically our best striker. He started the season off well, by the way. If we take a look, he's already scored 6 in 9, 3 in the Champions League qualifiers and 3 in the league. So he started off okay. He's wanted, maybe. Do we loan him out for a year and go for someone else instead? Doesn't matter. We're not playing him this season. He's not being locked in. If he ends up playing a lot of football, I'm going to be annoyed, but there we are. One other thing to mention that I did not at the start of this season is we've lost our number 2 goalkeeper, technically. He's gone on a free transfer, out of contract. We just weren't going to renew it. And as we do every summer, we have spoke to the board and asked them for a few new things. First of all, we've asked them for an affiliate club, which we will get to in a minute. But we have also asked them to improve our youth recruitment, or not youth recruitment, sorry, youth facilities and training facilities, which they have agreed to. You'll probably notice there, the youth facilities were rejected, and then they were doing them. I asked for it, and they said no, and then like a week later they said yes. I don't understand, but there we are, they did it anyway. Our new affiliate club, by the way, is Motor, who are in the first division of Poland. I went for Motor because they actually have one of the best youth systems. That's why we went for them, not because I can loan them and they're in a decent level of football. We've got a couple of other youth clubs as well. Chemik Police, apparently, and Winter Wallin. These two are kind of useless, aren't they? Let's be honest. The final thing to mention, we have a head of youth development. It's taken 2 years. I still can't believe it has taken 2 years for me to realise we haven't got one. But we now have one. Stefan Chapwasat, a Swiss international legend, I think you'll find. I was just going to say footballer. Legend, 103 caps, 21 goals. Spent a lot of time playing around the world. Had a spell, actually quite a big spell, playing for Borussia Dortmund, but also playing for Lucerne, young boys as well, and a bit of grasshoppers in the middle. So, Stefan Chapwasat, I think he's very good. 15 working with youngsters. Judging player potential and ability, 18 and 16. So, I think we've got a good player here. It is an annoying player. He's not. I mean, he's a good player, but at 58, maybe not so much anymore. Annoyingly, his preferred formation does not match what our preferred formation is. There were a few options who did have that, but none of them wanted to be head of youth development. You'll probably notice Chapsat also didn't want to be one, but we offered him a lot of money, so he was okay with it. And yes, £325 a week is a lot of money, apparently. I almost completely forgot to mention that Grzegorz Baniak has extended his loan deal for another season from Napoli. We are paying a bit of his wages now, £2,700 a week. If we don't play him, but we will play him, we'll have to pay £7,250 a week, which I'm kind of okay with that as well. So Baniak is here for another season. We did get knocked out of the Champions League qualifiers, by the way, so we're in the Extraclasse, currently top of the table. We are mid-table in the Europa League because it's not started yet, so I'm hoping we can do all right in that, and we are still in the FA Cup because it's not kicked off long enough for us to actually enter the competition. So let's jump forward then to the 1st of April to see what youth intake we get, thanks to Stefan Chapwasat, and also to see how well things are going. I'd like to get out of the group stage in the top 8 of the Europa League. That'll be good. So first intake in a while where we've actually had a head of youth development, and it's not a very good one. It's a 2.5 star average intake, so we're going to fly through these ones very quickly. We've got Andrusko, who is a right back at 15. He is awful, but he's only 15, so he's got plenty of time to develop. We've got Manzrais, might be his name, who's a striker, once again 15 years of age. Actually doesn't look too bad. He might get better, not too convinced though. We've got Gregor Choynaki, might be his name, who is an attacking midfielder and striker. I'm kind of on board with this guy. I'm not sure why. I think it's his technical, his first touch and technique might be swaying me slightly. And Thomas Pakzuk is our final player, who's a defence midfielder, which is always quite good to have. But again, I'm not too convinced. So Stefan Chapsat's first youth intake, you can tell from the fact that some of these players haven't even joined the club on permanent deals. I don't think it's very good. This is the best man to come through, and I kind of have to agree with that. In Europe, then, we did manage to get out of the Europa League, but we eventually get knocked out by Rennes in the round of 16. So we get past FC Midtjylland 7-5 on aggregate. And in the group stage, we finished 16th place. 3 wins against Hajduk, Hammarby and PAOK, scoring 14 goals in those 3 games. 3 draws as well against Rennes, Sevilla and Frankfurt, and then 2 defeats against Real San Sebastian and Borussia Mönchengladbach. So I'm kind of okay with that. That's fine. 1 win. Well, one of those draws, 2 of those draws turning into wins would have actually put us into the top 8. So that would have been quite good. Obviously, we're not quite there yet. From an Extraclasse, however, We are undefeated after 26 games. 6 draws is all we've got. 20 wins and 0 defeats. We are keeping clean sheets as well. That's a lot of clean sheets. There was one thing that was annoying that did happen in the January transfer window. Lukas Zenko, who a player who we actually locked into the starting 11, went out on loan because he was on the development list. And yeah, I've only just realised that, so we have to lock in somebody else, which it's fine. It's Sebastian Wilk. He was playing anyway. I feel like it's not the end of the world that we've done that. Just looking at Cesare Mister, our goalkeeper, he has kept 18 clean sheets in 45 appearances. Conceded 50, which is a lot, but 11 clean sheets in 26 league games is very, very good. I think this might have been one of our best signings, and he's just a cheap goalkeeper that we found in Poland. So going back to our squad and what we've got locked in, it is exactly the same. So Wolski still in defence, Muchak, Gorlowski and Kostrobala as the attacking players, and Sebastian Wilk leading the line. He has been playing anyway. He's started 25 games, got 14 goals. He's wanted by Porto. He's getting good. Wilk's actually getting good. So let's jump forward to the end of the season, top of the Ekstraklasa at the moment. We're in the Polish FA Cup semi-final as well against Lechia, so maybe we can pick up another 2 trophies this season. Fingers crossed. Let's go forward then to the end of the season and see how things are gone. We lost 1 game in the league, so we are champions, which is obviously good, but we lost once against Jagiellonia, who finished in 10th place. We lost once. Oh, that's not good. We also did win the FA Cup. We lost right at the end as well. We almost had an unbeaten season, and then 3 games to play. We lose against Jagiellonia on telly as well. On TV, we throw away, and a 91st minute penalty. It gets worse, but it doesn't really matter. We are champions of Poland. We have won the Polish FA Cup, beating Radomiak in the final as well, which is what we like to see. So 2 more trophies in the bag. Let's take a look at some of the players. I say some. Let's take a look at the players that we locked in first to see how well they got on. Starting from the back, not expecting a lot of things from a centre-back. Mateusz Wolski, though, scoring 4 goals in 51 appearances. No assists, but he's done a decent enough job. And this is where it gets ridiculous. This is why we've won the league, because of our front 4 players. Kostrobala, his first season actually locked into the starting 11. 20 goals, 14 assists. Goralski, who's now played 127 first-team appearances in the league. 18 goals and 17 assists. Mucha, 15 goals and 9 assists on that left-hand side. And then Sebastian Wilk up front, scoring 29 goals, 2 assists. Compared to last season, where he got 9 goals, he's now got 17. So almost doubled his goals over the course of a season, which is very good. I do like to see that. We've also got Baniak, who's played a lot for us, obviously on loan from Napoli, 50 appearances, 24 assists for Baniak. That's insane. That is ridiculous. Golanski's played a couple of times off the bench, getting 2 goals in the league. In fact, he scored twice in 1 game. It looks like Marius Stepien was our number 2 striker, potentially. Starting once, coming off the bench 10 times, scoring 3 goals as well. So Stepien might be the heir to Wilk, although Wilk's like 18. So Stepien might never really play for us. We've also got Radzuwicz, might be his name, who's played a couple of times, 1 in the FA Cup and 1 in the Ekstraklasa. I imagine didn't really do much. And then a few other players as well who don't look like they've played for us. In fact, I know they haven't, because they've got zeros or dashes next to their appearances. So I think we've done quite well this season. Obviously, we've won the league. Assist-wise, Valkvist, again, getting huge numbers of assists from right back, 11 of them in all competitions. Baniak, we know, getting the most. And then goals, we've got the fact that we've got Goralski, Kostrobala and Wilk all up there. Ferrero getting 15 goals, most of them off the subs bench. I'm guessing you played left wing. You did. You barely... I mean, you didn't even play 45 minutes and you still scored a stupid amount of goals. Fair play. Gamboa getting 9 goals and 9 assists from defence midfield is good. Vahan not playing anywhere near as much, coming off the bench 24 times. Because I'm guessing you probably came off the bench in various positions this time. Yeah, attacking midfield, right winger predominantly. So you were coming on for Kostrobala, but still probably would have liked a bit more football, I think, for him. And Mizda finishing the season then with 20 clean sheets. 20 clean sheets, 13 of them coming in the league, which is approaching half. I mean, it's not half. It's probably about 2/5 of the matches he's kept clean sheets in. But still, that is a very good return for arguably he's not a bad goalkeeper by all means, but he's not like a world-class goalkeeper, is he? So Season 5 is in the bag. We are champions once again. Let's take a very quick look at the history. So we've won the Ekstraklasa 3 times, and we have won them. And it is every other season we seem to win it. So maybe Season 6, we might not win that. We've won the Polish FA Cup every other season. If we win the league, we win the cup. And then we finish second. We finish first, then second, first, then second. If we finish second in Season 6, it's broken. The game's broken. Bearing in mind, Season 6, we will only be locking in 5 players into our starting 11 for Season 6. I'm not saying that I won't lock in 6, I'm just saying that we should be locking in 5 as a minimum. We can lock in up to 11 if we really want to. Trust me, we're not going to do that. But that's going to do it for Season 5. A very successful year.